Florence, Colorado, a sleepy town surrounded by rolling hills and vast open skies. But nestled within this tranquil landscape lies a place that chills the blood. ADX Florence, also known as Florence Supermax. This is no ordinary prison. It is the most secure prison in the United States, a place designed to hold the worst of the worst. Surrounded by razor wire, watchtowers and heavily armed guards, Florence Supermax looms like a concrete and steel monument to isolation and control. The prison's very location speaks to its mission of absolute containment. Situated in the high desert, miles from any major city, escape seems impossible. The harsh landscape, unforgiving and desolate, mirrors the reality that awaits those who enter Florence Supermax, a life stripped bare, devoid of hope and human connection. The story of Florence Supermax is rooted in tragedy. This facility, often referred to as the Alcatraz of the Rockies, stands as a stark reminder of the lengths to which the American correctional system will go to maintain order and security. Its creation was a direct response to a horrific event in 1983 at the Marion Federal Penitentiary in Illinois. This event marked a turning point in the history of American prisons, highlighting the urgent need for a new approach to handling the most dangerous inmates. Two correctional officers, Merle Klutz and Robert Hoffman, were brutally murdered by inmates within a span of a few hours. Their deaths were not just a tragic loss for their families and colleagues, but also a wake-up call for the entire correctional system. The killings sent shockwaves through the American correctional system, exposing the vulnerability of even the most secure facilities. Riots and unrest became more frequent, and the need for a more secure solution became undeniable. The solution, according to federal authorities, was a new breed of prison, one designed to completely isolate the most dangerous inmates and eliminate any possibility of further violence against staff or each other. This new approach aimed to create an environment where the most violent offenders could be contained without posing a threat to anyone else. Thus, the concept of the Supermax prison was born, with Florence Supermax as its most extreme manifestation. This facility was designed with the highest level of security in mind, featuring advanced surveillance systems, reinforced walls, and a layout that minimized inmate interaction. Completed in 1994, it became the blueprint for a new era of incarceration, one defined by extreme isolation and unprecedented security measures. Florence Supermax set the standard for future high-security prisons, emphasizing the importance of control and containment in maintaining order within the correctional system. Inmates at Florence Supermax spend 23 hours a day in their cells, with minimal human contact. This level of isolation is intended to prevent any possibility of violence, but it also raises questions about the psychological impact on those confined within its walls. Critics argue that the extreme isolation can lead to severe mental health issues, making it a controversial solution to the problem of prison violence. Supporters, however, maintain that the safety of staff and other inmates must be the top priority. The success of Florence Supermax led to the construction of similar facilities across the United States, each designed to house the most dangerous and disruptive inmates. This new model of incarceration has fundamentally changed the landscape of the American prison system. As the sun sets over Florence Supermax, it stands as a testament to the ongoing struggle to balance security and humanity within the correctional system. The birth of this Supermax prison marked the beginning of a new chapter in the story of American incarceration, one that continues to evolve to this day. Entering Florence Supermax is like stepping into an architectural manifestation of despair. The first thing that strikes you is the overwhelming sense of foreboding. The high-security gates, the barbed wire, and the ever-watchful guards create an atmosphere that is both intimidating and oppressive. This is a place designed to break the human spirit. The prison is a labyrinth of concrete and steel, designed to minimize human contact and maximize control. The corridors stretch endlessly, each turn leading to another identical hallway, creating a disorienting maze. The steel doors are heavy and unyielding, a constant reminder of the inescapable reality of confinement. Every aspect of the design serves a purpose: to isolate, to control, and to dominate. The buildings themselves are imposing, windowless concrete structures that resemble bunkers more than correctional facilities. These monolithic edifices stand as silent sentinels, their blank facades offering no glimpse of the world outside. The lack of windows is not just a security measure. It is a psychological tool, cutting off inmates from any connection to the outside world, reinforcing their sense of isolation and hopelessness. Every detail, from the layout of the cell blocks to the placement of the security cameras, is meticulously planned to prevent any possibility of escape or unrest. The security cameras are omnipresent, their unblinking eyes capturing every movement, every interaction. The cell blocks are designed to be easily monitored and controlled, with narrow hallways and limited access points. This level of surveillance and control is unparalleled, creating an environment where privacy is non-existent and every action is scrutinized. Movement within the prison is tightly restricted. Inmates are escorted by guards whenever they leave their cells, their movements choreographed to prevent any chance of interaction or escape. The guards are ever present, their authority unquestioned, their presence a constant reminder of the power dynamics at play. This controlled movement is designed to maintain order and prevent any form of rebellion or resistance. Inmates are confined to their cells for 23 hours a day, their movements tracked by an intricate network of cameras and motion sensors. The cells are small and sparse, offering little comfort or respite. The constant surveillance creates a sense of paranoia, as inmates are aware that they are always being watched. This level of control extends to every aspect of their lives, from their daily routines to their interactions with others. Even within this concrete jungle, a hierarchy of isolation exists. Inmates are classified based on their behavior and perceived threat level, with those deemed most dangerous subjected to the highest levels of isolation. This hierarchy creates a social structure within the prison, with power dynamics and relationships influenced by the level of isolation each inmate experiences. The most dangerous and disruptive inmates are housed in the Z unit, a section of the prison reserved for those deemed too dangerous for even the general population of Florence Supermax. This unit is the epitome of isolation, with inmates confined to their cells for 24 hours a day, their only human contact being with the guards who bring them their meals. The Z unit represents the ultimate expression of the prison's philosophy: total control, total isolation, and total domination. Life inside Florence Supermax is defined by routine, isolation, and an almost complete lack of sensory stimulation. This high-security prison, often referred to as the Alcatraz of the Rockies, is designed to house the most dangerous criminals in the United States. The architecture and daily operations are meticulously planned to ensure maximum security and minimal human contact. Inmates spend 23 hours a day locked in their 7 by 12-foot concrete cells. These cells are stark and devoid of any personal touches, with only the bare essentials provided. The walls are cold and uninviting, painted in dull, muted colors that add to the sense of desolation. Their only window to the outside world is a narrow slit in the steel door, too small to see through, but just large enough to let in a sliver of light. This tiny opening is a constant reminder of their confinement, offering just a glimpse of the world beyond their reach. Natural light is a luxury. The only illumination comes from flickering fluorescent bulbs that remain on 24 hours a day. These harsh lights cast a perpetual artificial glow that can be disorienting and mentally exhausting. The lack of natural light can have severe effects on an inmate's mental health, contributing to feelings of depression and anxiety. An inmate's day is rigidly structured. Every minute is accounted for, from the time they wake up to the time they go to sleep. This strict schedule is designed to maintain order and discipline, but it also leaves little room for personal freedom or autonomy. Meals are delivered through slots in the cell doors. These meals are often bland and nutritionally basic, designed to meet the minimum dietary requirements. The act of receiving food through a slot further emphasizes the separation between inmates and the outside world. Exercise is limited to an hour a day in a small concrete enclosure, often referred to as a dog run. where inmates can pace back and forth under the watchful eyes of armed guards. Human interaction is minimal. This brief period of exercise is one of the few times inmates are allowed out of their cells. But even then, they are under constant surveillance. Guards wear special boots designed to muffle their footsteps, creating an eerie silence that permeates every corner of the prison. This silence is intentional, meant to prevent inmates from anticipating the guards' movements. The lack of sound adds to the oppressive atmosphere, making the prison feel even more isolating and claustrophobic. Inmates have limited access to recreational activities. Reading, writing and drawing are some of the few permitted pastimes. These activities provide a small mental escape from the monotony of prison life, but they are closely monitored to ensure that no contraband or unauthorized communication occurs. Visitation is rare and heavily regulated. When allowed, it takes place in a room where inmates and visitors are separated by thick glass, communicating through a phone. This setup ensures that physical contact is impossible, further emphasizing the isolation that defines life in Florence Supermax. The prison library offers a limited selection of books, mostly educational or religious texts. Inmates can request books, but the approval process is stringent. Reading becomes a vital lifeline, a way to mentally escape the confines of their cells, if only for a short while. Nighttime in Florence Supermax is no different from the day. The fluorescent lights remain on, casting a dim, unchanging glow. Inmates sleep under this artificial light, their dreams confined by the same walls that imprison their bodies. The relentless routine, the isolation, and the lack of sensory stimulation all contribute to a life that is as much a mental prison as it is a physical one. Perhaps the most insidious aspect of life in Florence Supermax is not the physical confinement, but the psychological toll it takes. The prison is a sensory deprivation chamber designed to strip inmates of any meaningful stimulation. The silence is constant and oppressive, broken only by the clanging of cell doors and the occasional muffled shout from a distant inmate. The lack of human contact, coupled with the constant surveillance and the absence of natural light, can have devastating effects on the human psyche. Inmates have reported experiencing hallucinations, paranoia, and severe depression. Some have even resorted to self-harm as a way to break the monotony and feel something, anything, in the face of such overwhelming sensory deprivation.